The sun barely peeks through the tall windows of Flagstaff's district courthouse as people gather outside. News vans line the streets, microphones pointed toward the entrance. This isn't an ordinary trial, it's the day the sister wives' family faces each other, not across a dinner table, but across a courtroom. Inside, the energy is thick. The kind of tension that sits heavy in your chest, that makes even the air feel like it's holding its breath. Meri walks in quietly, wearing a simple dark outfit, her face calm but unreadable. Every step echoes, sharp heels against polished floors. For years, she's been silent, controlled, holding back emotions behind a polite smile. But today, she's here for truth. Not revenge, not drama, just truth. On the other side sits Kody Robyn, his expression a storm of anger and confusion. He leans over to whisper to Robyn, who clutches his arm like it's the only thing keeping her steady. Cameras flash as Christine and Janelle enter, sitting far apart from each other. You can tell, no one here feels safe. No one trusts anyone anymore. The judge calls the court to order. The sound of the gavel hits, one sharp strike, and the trial begins. Meri's lawyer, a calm but sharp-eyed woman named Ms. Dalton, stands first. Your Honor, she says firmly, this case is not about fame. It's about family, and the truth that's been buried for too long. The courtroom murmurs. Even the judge tilts his head, interested. Kody's lawyer quickly rises, adjusting his tie. We intend to prove, Your Honor, that these accusations are baseless, exaggerated, and deeply harmful to the family. His tone is slick, rehearsed, like someone who's said these words too many times before. Meri doesn't even look at him. She stares straight ahead, her hands folded in her lap. Beneath that calm surface, though, you can almost feel the heartbreak she's holding in. The court clerk begins reading out the case title, Meri Brown vs. Kody Robyn and Robyn Brown. A ripple of whispers breaks out. Meri's suing both of them. Not for money, not for defamation, but for fraudulent concealment and emotional distress. The details are sealed, but rumors swirl that DNA evidence plays a central role. The judge asks Meri to take the stand. She walks slowly, steady, every eye in the room following her. The air feels colder now. When she sits down, Ms. Dalton approaches gently. Meri, I know this is difficult. But I need you to tell the court why you decided to bring this case forward. Meri looks down for a moment, collecting her thoughts. Then she raises her head, and in that soft but firm voice fans know so well, she says, because I spent years believing lies. Lies that destroyed who I was, and I'm done pretending everything's okay. Her words hang in the air. She continues, when we built this family, we said it was built on love, honesty, and faith. But behind closed doors, those words, they didn't mean anything. Not when you're treated like an outsider in your own home. Kody shifts uncomfortably. Robyn dabs her eyes with a tissue, whispering something under her breath. Meri's eyes glisten, but she doesn't cry. Not yet. She looks right at Kody and says, you took away my voice for years. But today, you're going to listen. The lawyer nods and steps back, letting Meri's words sink in. Kody's lawyer wastes no time. Mrs. Brown, he begins with a practiced smile, isn't it true that after leaving the plural marriage, you agreed to move on? Isn't this just about old wounds? Meri doesn't blink. Old wounds don't heal when they keep getting reopened. He presses again, then why now? Why after all these years? Meri's lips tremble slightly, but her voice stays strong. Because someone showed me something I wasn't supposed to see, and it proved that everything I thought I knew was a lie. The courtroom gasps. Even the judge raises his brow. The lawyer freezes for a moment, then quickly says, we'll return to that later, Your Honor. But the damage is done, the curiosity is burning. The camera pans to Kody's face. His expression has changed from frustration to fear. Robyn reaches for his hand, but he pulls it away. Ms. Dalton rises again. Meri, without revealing evidence yet, Can you explain how this truth see outside the courthouse? Reporters are losing their minds. Social media is already buzzing. What did Meri discover? What's the DNA proof? Did Kody hide something bigger than anyone knew? Back inside, the judge calls a short recess. The gavel strikes again, echoing like thunder in the tense silence. Everyone stands. Kody storms out first, his face red with anger. Robyn follows behind, tears streaking down her face. Christine stays seated, lost in thought, while Janelle glances toward Meri, a small, sad smile forming, as if to say, finally. During the break, the camera catches Meri sitting quietly at her table, eyes fixed on the folder in front of her, the same one from the opening scene. Her lawyer leans in and whispers, "You sure you're ready for this?" Meri nods. "I've been ready for years." The sound fades, the ticking of the courtroom clock fills the silence. As court resumes, Ms. Dalton stands again. "Your Honor, we'd like to call our first witness, Christine Brown." Gasps echo around the room. Kody looks furious, mouthing something to his lawyer. Christine rises slowly from the gallery, her face pale but resolute. Meri watches her, their eyes meet. Years of friendship, betrayal, and shared pain pass silently between them. Christine takes the oath and sits down. The lawyer asks, "Christine, in your experience, did you notice any changes in the family dynamic after Robyn joined?" Christine hesitates. "Yes. Everything changed. Kody became distant, controlling. And when Meri started questioning things, she was shut out." "By who?" Christine glances at Robyn, then Kody. "Both of them." Kody slams his hand on the table. "That's not true," he snaps. The judge warns him to stay quiet. Meri doesn't flinch. She's been waiting for this day, for someone else to finally say it out loud. Christine continues, voice shaking. Meri was treated like she didn't belong anymore. Like her history with Kody didn't matter. And then there was that thing she found out about. The one that made her file this case. Can you tell the court what that was? Christine looks at the judge, then back at Meri. "I think it's better if she does." The lawyer nods. "Then we'll save that for later testimony." The camera cuts to Kody, his face says everything. Panic. Fear. Guilt. And as the judge calls for another short break, Meri finally opens the folder again. For a moment, the camera zooms in. We can't see what's inside, but we can see the word DNA printed in bold letters at the top of the page. She closes it gently and whispers, almost to herself, "It's time. Hanged what you believed about your family?" Meri swallows hard. It made me realize that love without honesty isn't love at all. And just like that, the courtroom feels more like a confession booth than a legal chamber. When the courtroom reconvenes after the short break, the air feels even heavier. The audience has grown. Local reporters, curious onlookers, even former friends of the Browns fill the benches. Everyone knows something is coming, but no one knows how deep it goes. Meri sits still, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Her lawyer, Ms. Dalton, flips through her notes calmly, while Kody paces behind his attorney like a trapped animal. Robyn sits motionless beside him, her mascara already smudged, clutching a crumpled tissue in both hands. The judge clears his throat. Court will come to order. Ms. Dalton rises again. Your Honor, we'll continue with Christine Brown's testimony. Meri lowers her eyes. You can almost see the flashbacks in her mind, the nights she sat alone in her room, the texts that stopped coming, the way Kody's affection disappeared like morning mist. Christine looks over at Robyn. You remember, don't you? She says quietly. Robyn hesitates, her lips trembling. I don't know what you mean. Christine's expression hardens. You do. You know exactly what she found. The courtroom erupts in murmurs. Kody's lawyer quickly objects, speculation. Witness cannot assume what another person knows. Sustained, says the judge firmly. Ms. Dalton, keep your witness on direct testimony. Ms. Dalton nods. Christine, when you said Meri sounded terrified, did she explain what scared her? Christine nods slowly. She said she had evidence that something in the family, something big, had been a lie all along. Did she mention DNA at that time? Christine's eyes flicked to Kody. She said the word once. Then she hung up. The audience gasps audibly, and the judge calls for order again. Kody's face flushes red. Robyn starts crying silently as Christine steps down from the stand. Janelle is called next. She's hesitant but composed. Out of all the wives, she's known for being calm and logical, the peacemaker. But even she looks uneasy as she raises her hand to take the oath. Meri and I haven't always agreed, Janelle admits. But when she came to me a few months ago, I could tell this wasn't about emotion. She had proof, something she couldn't ignore. She said, Janelle, I think the entire story we were told about our family isn't true. And honestly? I didn't believe her. Not at first. What changed your mind? Ms. Dalton asks. Janelle sighs. When she showed me the document. It had a lab's name, DNA results, signatures. I don't know whose DNA it was, but I saw Kody's name on one page. Anne. Robyn's. The words hang like thunder. The crowd murmurs, and the judge raises his voice. Order in the court. Kody turns sharply toward Janelle. You had no right to look at that, he shouts. Janelle's voice rises in anger for the first time. I didn't ask to. Meri showed me because she was desperate for someone to believe her. Ms. Dalton steps between them, motioning for calm. Your Honor, this outburst only proves the emotional weight of what's at stake here. The judge nods, visibly frustrated, but Meri's lawyer walks over to her table and picks up the same folder. Mrs. Brown, she says quietly, we'll come back to you soon. But first, we need to hear from one last person before we reveal what's inside this report. The judge looks puzzled. Who? Ms. Dalton turns toward Robyn. We'd like to call Robyn Brown to the stand. Gasps again. Robyn looks panicked. She shakes her head, whispering, no, not yet. But the judge orders her forward. She hesitates, glances at Kody, he nods, reluctantly, and she slowly stands, walking to the witness chair like she's walking through a storm. She takes the oath with trembling hands. Robyn, Ms. Dalton begins softly, this isn't easy for anyone. But Meri claims that you knew about something hidden. Do you want to tell the court what that was? Robyn bites her lip, looking like she might collapse. I can't, she stammers. It's not mine to tell. Then whose secret is it? She stays silent, eyes darting toward Kody. He stares at her like a warning. The judge leans forward. Mrs. Brown, you are under oath. If you withhold evidence relevant to this case, you could face consequences. Robyn's lip quivers. Tears spill down her cheeks. Fine, she whispers. It wasn't my idea to hide it. It was Kody's. The entire courtroom freezes. Even Meri's breath catches. Kody slams his fist against the table. That's a lie. You know that's not true. Robyn cries harder. You told me not to say anything. You said it would destroy everything we built. The judge bangs his gavel. Mr. Brown, control yourself. The noise dies down, leaving a suffocating silence. Trigged.ntly, shaking Ms. Dalton moves closer, her tone gentle but sharp. Robyn, what exactly did Kody ask you to hide? Robyn wipes her face, struggling to find words. He told me not to let anyone see the report. He said if the truth got out, the whole family would turn on him. That people would call him a liar. And what truth was that? Robyn hesitates again, her voice barely audible. That the child might not be his. The words drop like an explosion. Gasps fill the room. Kody's face goes white. Meri's eyes fill with tears she's been holding back for too long. Christine covers her mouth in shock, while Janelle looks away, whispering a quiet prayer. Kody's lawyer jumps up. Objection. This testimony is speculative and irrelevant to the charges. The judge bangs his gavel again. Overruled. Continue. Robyn sobs into her hands. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But he made me keep it secret. And when Meri found out, he told me to lie. Kody yells, enough. She's twisting everything, but his voice cracks halfway through. For the first time, he looks smaller, not the confident patriarch from TV, but a man cornered by his own choices. The judge looks between them, then to Meri. Mrs. Brown, do you have this report she's referring to? Meri nods silently. Yes, Your Honor. I do. She reaches into her bag and pulls out the same folder we've been seeing since the beginning, worn edges, folded corners, the weight of truth inside. She places it gently on the witness stand. The judge nods. We'll examine this in the next session. And just like that, the courtroom erupts in whispers again, reporters typing frantically, cameras flashing, voices overlapping. Meri closes her eyes. You can almost hear her heart pounding in the silence between sentences. Her head. Christine takes a slow breath and looks at Meri. There's pain there, not just from the family falling apart, but from years of loyalty being tested. When Robyn came into the family, Christine begins softly, I tried to welcome her. I really did. But soon, it felt like Kody's attention, his affection, everything, shifted completely. And Meri, she was left alone. Kody scoffs quietly, but his lawyer quickly puts a hand on his arm, warning him to stay calm. Christine continues, her voice steady now. For years, Meri held it together. Even when she was hurting, even when she was pushed aside. But something changed last year. I remember the day she called me, she sounded terrified. She said she'd found something that didn't make sense. Something that could destroy everything. The judge leans forward slightly. And did she tell you what that was? Christine shakes her head. Not right away. She said she had to be sure before she spoke. But whatever it was, it broke her. The courtroom is silent. Even the hum of the overhead lights feels distant. The next morning, the courthouse is surrounded by chaos. Reporters swarm the steps, shouting questions through microphones as camera flashes light up the gray Arizona sky. Overnight, headlines have already begun circulating, Sister Wives Court Shock, DNA report seized. Inside, security tightens. The bailiff's voice echoes through the hallways, keeping the crowd at bay. Meri walks in quietly again, holding that same folder like it's part of her. Her expression is calm, but her eyes, they're fierce. She's not just a reality star today. She's a woman about to expose a truth she's carried alone for far too long. Kody enters behind her, sunglasses hiding his bloodshot eyes. His shoulders are tense, jaw set. Robyn trails behind, pale and shaken. They don't sit close. For the first time, there's space between them, like guilt itself has wedged its way in. The judge enters, and the courtroom rises. The gavel strikes once, echoing through the chamber. We'll resume proceedings, he says. Mrs. Brown, please present your evidence. The air feels like glass is fragile, ready to shatter. Meri stands. Her voice is soft but clear. Your Honor, I've waited years for this moment. What I'm about to show isn't just a document. It's proof of a lie that's been buried under years of manipulation and control. She opens the folder slowly, pulling out several pages clipped together. You can see the top sheet, a white paper stamped with the words DNA test result, confidential. Meri looks directly at the judge. This report was conducted privately by a licensed laboratory after suspicions were raised regarding the paternity of Robyn's youngest child. A murmur ripples through the courtroom. Ms. Dalton steps in, taking the papers from Meri and handing them to the bailiff, who delivers them to the judge. Kody's lawyer jumps to his feet, voice trembling. Objection, Your Honor. This evidence was obtained without consent and is inadmissible. The judge looks over his glasses. We'll determine admissibility after reviewing it. Kody's breathing quickens. He leans toward his lawyer, whispering something harshly. Robyn stares down at her lap, tears dripping onto her hands. The judge reviews the document silently for a few long seconds that feel like hours. Finally, he raises his eyes. Mrs. Brown, he says slowly, are you confirming that this report claims Mr. Brown is not the biological father of one of the children in question? The room gasps. Meri doesn't blink. Yes, Your Honor. That's exactly what it proves. Robyn lets out a choked sob, covering her face. Kody slams his hand on the table. That's impossible. That's a lie. The judge warns him again. Mr. Brown, one more outburst and you'll be removed from the courtroom. But Meri doesn't even flinch. She continues, her voice trembling with emotion but filled with strength. When I first saw this report, I didn't believe it either. I thought it had to be wrong. I even paid for 2 separate tests. But both came back the same. The child isn't his. The entire courtroom buzzes like a live wire. Cameras flash. The audience leans forward, whispering. Christine covers her mouth in shock, while Janelle shakes her head slowly, tears welling in her eyes. Robyn stands suddenly, crying uncontrollably. It's not what you think. It's not like that. Meri turns to her. Then what is it, Robyn? Because I begged you to tell me the truth before I filed this case. You said it was complicated, that I wouldn't understand. But this paper understands. It doesn't lie. Ms. Dalton steps forward again. Mrs. Brown, can you tell the court how you came into possession of these documents? Meri nods. I received an anonymous message on social media. At first, I ignored it, I thought it was just more gossip. But the message included an address to a lab and a date. Something in me knew I had to check it out. When I went there, the clerk recognized Robyn's name immediately. She said, "Oh, the Brown test? That was processed months ago." That's when I knew something was wrong. Gasps ripple through the crowd again. Kody shouts, "You had no right. That was private." Meri snaps for the first time, her composure breaking. Private? You made our entire lives public. You put us on TV, told the world we were built on honesty, and you still lied to us. To me. Her voice cracks with years of suppressed pain. The courtroom falls silent again, even Kody frozen mid-breath. The judge clears his throat. Continue, Mrs. Brown. Meri wipes her tears. That's when I realized it wasn't just about one test. It was about trust. Everything I thought was sacred was a script. And the people I thought I knew were characters hiding behind it. Ms. Dalton turns to Robyn now, her tone softer. Robyn, can you explain this? Did you know this report existed? Robyn sobs harder. Yes, she admits. I knew. But it wasn't supposed to come out like this. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Then why keep it a secret? She takes a shaky breath. Because Kody told me not to. He said it would ruin everything, our show, our family, our reputation. He made me promise never to speak of it again. Kody buries his face in his hands, shaking his head. Meri stares at him, voice trembling. You didn't just lie to the world, Kody. You lied to us. To the people who gave up their lives for you. You built everything on a foundation of deceit. He finally looks up, his eyes red and hollow. I was trying to protect my family, he says quietly. You wouldn't understand what it's like to hold it all together. Meri scoffs bitterly. Hold it together? You destroyed it, Kody. You destroyed all of us. The tension is unbearable. Even the judge looks shaken. Ms. Dalton approaches the bench again. Your Honor, as this evidence shows, my client endured years of emotional manipulation while being denied access to the truth about her family's foundation. This isn't just betrayal, it's emotional fraud. The judge nods slowly. The court will recess for an hour before reconvening for closing testimonies. I'll review this document and decide its relevance to the case. He bangs the gavel. Court adjourned. But no one moves. The moment lingers like smoke after a fire. Meri sits down slowly, the adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Christine walks over quietly and puts a hand on her shoulder. You did the right thing, she whispers. Meri doesn't answer. Her eyes are locked on Kody, who's sitting completely still now, staring into space. For the first time, he looks defeated. The man who once commanded 4 households now sits in silence, the weight of truth pressing down on him. Outside the courthouse, the storm of reporters grows. Fans are already choosing sides online, some defending Kody, others praising Meri's courage. But inside, there's no noise, no chaos, just the sound of Meri's quiet breathing, the echo of years finally catching up to her. She whispers softly, almost to herself, I didn't come here to win. I came here to end it. The Arizona sky has darkened by the time the court recesses. The once bright courtyard outside is now shadowed by thick gray clouds, mirroring the mood inside. A cold wind blows through the open doors of the courthouse, scattering a few fallen leaves across the marble floor. Reporters swarm around every exit, cameras flashing, voices overlapping in a chaos of speculation. Inside, the family sits in separate corners. No one speaking. Not even whispering. The courtroom that had been filled with gasps and tension moments ago is now thick with the kind of silence that only comes after a truth too big to process. Meri sits by the window, staring out at the gathering storm. Her reflection in the glass looks tired, older, wiser, and free in a way she hasn't felt in years. Christine stands near the door, scrolling through her phone as messages pour in from fans, friends, and strangers. Janelle sits quietly, her head bowed, holding back tears. And then there's Kody. He's pacing near the judge's bench, running his hand through his hair over and over. The man who once carried himself like a king now looks small, haunted. Robyn sits nearby, red-eyed and shaking, mumbling to herself. Finally, Kody breaks the silence. You had no right to do this, Meri, he growls, voice low but sharp. No right to drag our family through the mud. Meri turns slowly, her eyes meeting his. I had every right, she says calmly. You made this mess the moment you decided your image was more important than honesty. Kody slams his fist on the table. You think you're the only one who's hurt? You think you're the only one who suffered? Meri's voice stays even. No, Kody. I think we all suffered because you refused to tell the truth. The air crackles between them, heavy with years of unresolved pain. Robyn stands up, her voice trembling. Stop it, both of you. This isn't helping. She wipes her face and looks at Meri with pleading eyes. You don't understand, Meri. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I never meant to hurt anyone. Meri's tone softens, but only slightly. Then why didn't you stop him, Robyn? You saw what this lie did to all of us. You saw how it turned everything ugly. Robyn shakes her head, sobbing. He told me it was for the best, that no one could know. That if the truth came out, it would destroy the family's name, the show, everything. Kody glares at her. You don't get to blame this on me. Robyn cries harder. You said it was temporary. You said we'd fix it later. The argument spirals out of control. Their voices rise, overlapping, echoing off the courtroom walls. Christine covers her ears, whispering, not again. Not like this. The bailiff steps forward, ready to intervene, but Meri raises a hand gently. It's fine, she says softly. Let them fight. It's the only language they know. Then, in one of the rawest moments yet, Meri looks right at Kody, tears finally spilling from her eyes. You wanted control so badly, Kody, you lost everything that mattered. You lost your wives, your children's trust, your faith, all because you couldn't be honest. Outside, thunder rolls across the mountains. The judge returns, signaling the family to prepare to continue. But he pauses when he sees them, exhausted, broken, hollow-eyed. Let's take a few minutes, he says softly, and steps out again. That's when Janelle finally speaks. Her voice is quiet, almost too soft to hear. Do you remember when this all started? We said we were building something special, something real. But somewhere along the way, it became about control. About who got the most love, the most attention. Christine nods slowly. I used to think we were a family. But now I see we were just pieces of Kody's story. Kody sinks into a chair, running his hand down his face. You all act like I was the only one making decisions. You had choices too. Meri looks at him. You're right. I chose to believe in you. That was my mistake. There's a long silence. The kind that hurts to sit in. As the minutes pass, emotions simmer into exhaustion. Cameras are still waiting outside. Social media is already trending with hashtags. Hashtag Meri speaks. Hashtag DNA revelation. Hashtag sister wives trial. The world is watching, but inside, the Browns are just people, broken, angry, lost. Christine finally stands, turning to Meri. You're brave, she says softly. You did what I never could, you faced him in the light. Meri gives a faint smile. It doesn't feel brave. It just feels necessary. Robyn stands too, her voice cracking. Meri, I'm sorry. I really am. I should have told you. I should have told everyone. Meri studies her for a long moment, then nods. Maybe one day, I'll forgive you. But not today. Robyn nods, tears streaming down her face, and sits back down beside Kody, who's now staring blankly at the wall. The judge re-enters, signaling everyone back to their seats. We'll resume, he says gently. But before we continue with final arguments, I want to address what's happening in this room. Families fall apart for many reasons, but the law doesn't heal wounds. It only reveals them. Please remember that. Meri listens quietly. There's pain in her eyes, but also peace, the kind that comes after you've already cried every tear you can. The court resumes briefly. Ms. Dalton stands to summarize her side. Your Honor, this case isn't about vengeance. It's about closure. My client didn't come here to ruin lives. She came to reclaim her own. Kody's lawyer responds with the same practiced calm. My client maintains that this case has caused unnecessary damage to private matters. We ask the court to recognize that personal pain should not become public punishment. The judge nods. I'll review all testimonies and evidence. We'll reconvene tomorrow for the final verdict. He strikes the gavel once more. Court dismissed. But this time, no one rushes to leave. They just sit there, drained. Meri stands slowly, gathers her things, and walks toward the exit. She pauses for a moment, turns back, and looks at Kody. He's staring down at his hands, motionless. She says softly, "Goodbye, Kody." He doesn't respond. He doesn't even look up. Christine and Janelle follow Meri out of the courtroom. Cameras flash, reporters shout questions, but Meri doesn't answer any of them. She just keeps walking, into the wind, into the noise, into whatever comes next. As she reaches her car, thunder cracks across the sky again. She looks up, whispers, "It's finally over," and closes the door. Kody looks away, his lip trembling. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to live a lie? Yes, Meri says simply. Because it made you look like the hero. Morning sunlight cuts through the blinds of the courtroom. painting thin golden lines across the polished wood. It's a new day, but it doesn't feel like one. The tension that lingered overnight hasn't faded, it's settled deeper, like dust that refuses to be swept away. Meri walks in first, dressed in soft gray. Her expression is calm but distant, like someone who's already accepted the outcome, no matter what it is. Christine follows, holding a small notepad. Janelle walks in quietly behind them, her eyes tired but resolute. Then come Kody and Robyn. He's wearing a navy suit, the same one from yesterday, his eyes bloodshot, jaw clenched. Robyn's hand rests lightly on his arm, but he doesn't seem to notice. The crowd murmurs as they take their seats. Cameras click, pens scratch. When the judge enters, the entire room rises. His face is unreadable, professional, calm, but heavy with the knowledge that this decision will follow all of them forever. He adjusts his glasses and begins. Before I deliver my judgment, I want to acknowledge the emotional toll this case has taken on every person involved. What we've witnessed over the last few days isn't just a legal dispute. It's the unraveling of a family built on faith, trust, and image. The room goes still. Even the air seems to pause. Meri looks down at her folded hands, her thumb tracing small circles on the edge of a tissue. The judge continues. The DNA evidence presented in this case cannot be ignored. The document submitted by the plaintiff has been verified through appropriate legal channels. Therefore, it is accepted as valid. He pauses, letting the words sink in. Kody Brown is not the biological father of Robyn Brown's youngest child. A collective gasp sweeps through the room. Robyn bursts into tears instantly, her sobs echoing off the wooden walls. Kody's face goes white, then red with rage and disbelief mixing like fire and ice. Meri doesn't move. She just stares straight ahead, her expression unreadable. The judge continues, his tone even but sympathetic. This revelation, though deeply personal, became public due to the nature of the testimonies and media involvement surrounding this family. The court does not condone the public exposure of private family matters. However, it cannot disregard the evidence. He looks directly at Meri. Mrs. Brown, while the truth has been revealed, the court also recognizes the emotional damage caused by this exposure. Therefore, this court recommends mediation and psychological support for all parties involved. Then he turns to Kody. Mr. Brown, you've built a public image that has influenced millions. But truth isn't a threat to reputation, it's the foundation of it. This court encourages you to use this moment not as a fall, but as a reckoning. Kody nods stiffly, his lips pressed into a thin line. The gavel strikes once. Bang. Court adjourned. For a moment, no one moves. Then Robyn collapses into her chair, sobbing uncontrollably. He told me it wouldn't matter, she cries. He said no one would ever know. Kody tries to speak, but his voice cracks. Robyn, please. Not here. She shakes her head violently. You said it didn't change anything. That love was enough. You lied to me. Meri stands quietly, collecting her things. Her voice is calm, but her eyes shimmer with tears. Love is enough, until it's built on secrets. Christine walks over, placing a gentle hand on Meri's shoulder. You did what had to be done, she says softly. You showed all of us that truth matters, no matter how much it hurts. Meri nods faintly. It does. But it still hurts like hell. As the family exits the courtroom, the hallway erupts again. Reporters surround them, firing questions like bullets. Meri, do you feel vindicated? Kody, what's your next move? Robyn, do you plan to respond to the court's findings? Security forms a barrier, guiding them toward the exit. Flashbulbs go off in every direction, freezing moments of pain forever. Outside, the sky has cleared bright, almost too bright, as if mocking the heaviness inside their hearts. Christine stops at the top of the courthouse steps and takes a deep breath. You know, she says, half smiling, for the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Janelle nods slowly. It's strange. We came in broken, but maybe now, we can finally start over. Meri looks out over the crowd of reporters, her voice barely above a whisper. Starting over isn't about leaving the past behind. It's about facing it and walking through it anyway. Behind them, Kody and Robyn emerge. The crowd roars again, microphones thrust in their faces. Kody keeps his head down, saying nothing. Robyn, red-eyed and trembling, whispers to the nearest reporter, I never meant for it to end like this. Her words vanish into the noise. Hours later, the courthouse is empty. The benches are silent, the air still heavy with ghosts of what just happened. The papers that once held secrets now rest quietly in a folder marked closed case. Meri stands outside alone now, her phone buzzing with hundreds of missed calls and messages, from journalists, fans, even strangers thanking her for her courage. She scrolls past them all and opens one message, a simple text from Christine. Proud of you. You did what we all needed. Meri smiles faintly. A single tear slips down her cheek. She looks up at the setting sun, its light warm, golden, forgiving. Maybe this is what freedom feels like, she whispers. Meanwhile, inside a dimly lit hotel room across town, Kody sits by the window, staring at the city lights. Robyn lies on the bed, silent, her back turned. He rubs his temples, whispering to himself. It was supposed to be different. We were supposed to prove everyone wrong. Robyn doesn't answer. She just stares at the wall. He finally turns to her. Do you hate me? Her voice is barely audible. No, Kody. I just don't know who you are anymore. He opens his mouth to respond, but no words come. Only silence. Later that night, Meri sits at her kitchen table, a cup of tea cooling beside her. The house is quiet, too quiet, but peacefully so. She pulls out her journal and writes a single line, the truth is painful, but pretending was worse. She closes it, exhales deeply, and looks out the window. The moon is full, glowing over the desert horizon. In that moment, it feels like the end of something massive and the beginning of something new. The Brown family walked into court as reality stars, and walked out as real people, flawed, fractured, but human. The truth didn't destroy them. It revealed them. The question now isn't who was right or wrong, it's who they'll become after the truth. Was Meri right to expose the truth, no matter the cost, or did it go too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this courtroom may be closed, but the story isn't over yet.